I am Cheyenne. I am 31 years old as a retail store manager who moonlights as a mom. Liberation to me means living as authentically as you would like to be, as free and without constraint of worries of the society or anything that other people think, and just really being who you want to be. I am very, very, very confident in my body. Working with women in my same boat, I think really helps me to see like the beauty, and really just empowering other women makes me feel, even better. So community has really shaped my relationship with my body by really bringing in people that are a lot like me, people who have insecurities, people who are going through the same things, and, really people that see me and I see them, that kind of thing. So that community makes you, it lifts you up. It makes you feel like that is that safe space for you, that third place where it's not your home, it's not your work, it's where you feel the most, comfortable. I show up in my body for the world by honestly dressing, getting dressed up, and really just not being afraid to be bold, really just making sure that I'm seen. I think a lot of people, bigger body people, smaller body people, everybody is, got something they're insecure about, and it just feels so powerful to show up and be yourself. And I think it really makes other people feel, confident to at least try the same, step out, try something new. Something I do that makes me feel confident is putting together outfits, honestly, for other people, younger people especially. That is a big place in my heart. So I know that I can confidently, pass my confidence on to somebody else. And I think that's a really cool thing. And I'm able to really, use that to build myself up. I mean, that's exactly what I'm passionate about. So fat erasure in fashion and retail is a sore spot for me, for sure. I feel like that is something that has been so overlooked, and it was approached at such a wrong angle when it was first. Every store has a plus size collection in their store, and it was such a fake grab. Something that people wanted without it being what they actually wanted. And I think retail's really missing this right now. Fast fashion is absolutely trouble, and I think that's where we're at. Especially as a plus size body, is how do we shop sustainably? There's not a ton of vintage, plus size around, and to make sure that you're buying ethically is also very expensive. And so that is very much so a privilege. And so I really have a hard, because obviously we need these fast fashions because we have to wear clothes. We have to wear clothes every day. But to be able to do good and, it doesn't always align. So I am facing the challenges of body erasure in fashion by not having a ton of options. I think that it makes you feel bad about yourself. You don't have a ton of options in store. It's a lot of shopping online. So I really struggle with not being able to shop ethically and in store and find things in my size that aren't necessarily, made for someone 20, 30 years older. Definitely body erasure of fashion has made it so I can't express myself as much. We get stuck in a very plain or a very bold floral. We don't have a ton of options in what is actually fashion versus what is, a garment you can wear, that you just pick off the rack. So I think that is definitely a huge challenge, very hard to express yourself if you don't have a ton of options or you don't have a ton of tools to style yourself. I think that is so hard if you don't necessarily have a style. I work with women all the time who don't know what they're wearing, and like, I'm happy to help. And it's one of those where you just add a little something, and I think it really does elevate and you feel so much better about yourself. So expression's important. Slowing down, listening to what their customers say, what their associates say. Slowing down just meaning not trying to keep up with the rest of retail. It is such a toxic place right now. Retail is so hard with the economy and everything. So I think if they could slow down and really pinpoint, what the market's missing, and it is so clear, again, we need even a semi-ethical option that is geared toward that 20 to 40-year-old market there that is so untapped. And, we don't have a lot of options to wear cute things and also be functional. We are very forced into a workwear situation or a loungewear situation. And I feel like that's yes. And I mean, there's nothing wrong in that. Like, if that's what you love, that's great. But if you're trying to express yourself, boy, they make it hard to really, get those accessories and get you feeling yourself. So I would tell someone who is using retail as body liberation, really to just not be afraid of trying some things, really looking inward and just saying, hey, like everyone has their own insecurities. And a lot of the time they're so worried about their own, they're not looking at yours. So many people are worried about covering their arms or this, that, or the other. And I've never looked at someone's arms and said like, and I'm sure there are people that do that, but as a whole, people are so self-centered, just own it, girlfriend. Like if you show up, absolutely people are going to notice, and there's nothing wrong in being seen.